Tonight on Hip on the Spot News. The update that unites DCS in one version is here. We take a look at the patch notes and see what is out there. Some FC-3 modules got a new look I like. And performance is the word of the day. This and more on How I Play. This video is sponsored by Fox3 Managed Solutions. Hello virtual pilots, I am Andre Celesti, and tonight we are going to talk about the latest updates in DCS World. So it's out. The new unified update for DCS World is here. Yes, we now have one version for all. One to rule them all. No more stable and open beta, though don't let that fool you. Updates are needed, new content is inbound, and we still report our findings to ED for those pesky bugs and stuff. But finally, the first patch of 2024 is here, marking a new step for development and those upcoming modules that need to make their way to us. And yes, the F4 Phantom is one of them, but there are more, a lot more, that need to come out of hiding and say where they're at. I'm talking about you, Corsair. Yes. But until then, we are only savoring new pictures and videos and finding learning material prior of release. So, as always, the new update comes with a lot of fixes, improvements, and new additions to our favorite flight sim platform. In this video, we will cover the most important changes, things that caught our eyes, and are interesting to showcase here. The entire changelog is linked for your convenience in the video description down below. And we start with the most obvious change, and that is the release by ED of the free texture upgrade for some of the Flaming Cliffs modules. These are the J11A, Su-27, Su-33, F-15C, and A-10A. So they got a nice new look in the latest update, receiving significant texture improvements and physical base rendering, also known as PBR. This was a nice surprise to see more love for the FC-3 modules. Do you agree? Also, I would like to make a big shout out to Tuvas and his great coverage with a before and after video for each changed module. I linked it in the video description for your convenience, go check it out. Moving on, for the DCS core features, we got improvements to the terrain scenery performance as they optimize instancing and improved streaming. It's not yet Vulkan, but we are on the road to it, and it's always good news when we see any improvements to our performance. Then, for the IR renderer, they fixed the square surface texture under the destroyed vehicle shown in the flare. No more Minecrafty feelings when you look for your accomplishments on the battlefield. For the Apache, my dear Rupesh, they heard you. Just kidding. Happy to see that from now on we got the FCR mass-mounted assembly as a loadout option in the rearm refuel menu. Servers and mission editors will rejoice. Oh, and along with a list of fixes, the one that I will mention here is for the gun. Bullets won't go missing when fired at 3000 range and above. Nice! They also did some George AI tuning. Need to check that. Next, it's my pleasure to inform everyone that the changes we featured in our previous video for the Hornet, the video you see now on the right hand side, were included in this update. In short, they updated the flight model and feel of the module, and now the Hornet is a beast in disguise. Quite powerful, and in good hands can outperform everything we have in terms of jets out there in DCS World. For now. But wait, there is more. They also added new pilot helmets and night vision goggles that come with fancy new animations for closing the visors. Immersive. Oh, and the board numbers are not a mess anymore. For the F-16C Viper, they fixed the plague data link that didn't work after a cold start. Basically, you need to keep in mind that when starting or restarting the aircraft, the mid switch must still be set to off. You will only set it on after the GPS switch has been set to on for 60 seconds and the DED time page display GPS system. Good to know, and they also fixed some oscillations that were happening in the flight.
For the mighty Mi-24 behind, ye added some new voiceovers for pilot response and sliding and turn commands. I can only imagine what the pilot wants to say back to me.
Moving on, Razbam was busy with the Strike Eagle. We got a new AGR radar mode, with radar elevation reset upon entering guns mode, a radar guns mode quick step bump, MGRS programming, and auto AGR. They also improved the mutual interference accuracy, front cockpit auto acquire switch HOTAS logic, and updated the air-to-air radar contact sticks that now show relative heading instead of aspect. They also updated the RWR behavior to radar lock and weapons launch, the audio warning for it, all together with more updates to aircraft models. Nice! For the Mirage F1 by Airgis, we got IFF. So they added a full IFF transponder simulation compatible with the M2000 and F-15E. They also added the option to equip the BE, CE, and EE with a mode for IFF. A new cryptographic unit, IFF panel, and warning light only installed in a few aircraft. This is now available in the module option, and only the F1M variant is equipped with it by default. Good to know. For the F-14 Tomcat, they added the ECM and ECA countermeasure pod visual models for TARP's mission, and they fixed the AI Wingman 2 and Wingman 4 issues in the comps menu. But the cherry on the top is the Viggen. Heatblur sure knows how to deliver, and this time we got a nice surprise and saw a major art revision and refinements for better accuracy and usability. Their words, not mine. They added missing lights to the upper air brake, corrected landing lights, mounting angle, and taxi light properties. They added an optional Imperial altimeter and distance indicator. Plus, the Viggen received a lot of love in the cockpit, and not only, with many fixes for broken stuff. You will be happy to know they modified the model of pitch trim indicator, brake pressure gauge, oxygen gauge, and nozzle position indicator. They rotated the EP13 glass and changed the hood and radar screen. Lens flare was removed from lights, and they added night lightning to warning flag on CI. Now the Viggen has an animated throttle linkage to move with the throttle more accurately, and attached rear half of throttle linkage for link movement. The canopy lever linkage is now animated to move more realistic, and you should also notice a new data panel model. Okay, it's all good for the Viggen, but do you know what I'm going to say now?
Yes, of course. Give.
No, Petrovich, that's not how we talk here.
But
we tell them good job and hope they have enough power to push through and deliver more quality content in the future.
So you mean Gib Phantom, yes?
Yes, Petrovich, yes. For you, it's Gib Phantom.
Yes.
We recently published our PIMAX Crystal tutorial for those of you who wonder how to set up your headset or struggle with a few steps, especially if you are using OpenXR in DCS World. And for those of you interested in buying a Crystal headset and want to help our channel as well, make sure to use our referral link together with available code. We still got a special promotion left for a few orders, a bigger discount with our HIP99 code. Link is in the video description. Another great surprise came from Polychop Simulations for their SA342 Gazelle that introduced new features, fixes, quality of life improvements, as well as a nice facelift to the external modules and textures. They gradually replaced the original liveries that were offered back in 2016 with highly detailed renditions that make full use of physically based rendering techniques, many of which are included in this update. The Gazelle minigun variant not only received an update on the M134 and Gunner models, but it now features the first iteration of their Gunner AI, capable of making short work of any soft target they get in their sights. Well, if you missed their recent video, make sure to check it out. The Kiowa pops by as well. More hype, and I'm definitely eager to get my hands on the module. So those were the modules and new improvements. But what about the maps? Well, fear not, we got 3 regions that were blessed with improvements and new additions in this update. First is the South Atlantic by Razbam Simulations. They updated the ground clutter and maps for noise textures, improved foliage blending, and density for a seamless transition. For those of you focused on naval operations, they introduced a 40-meter dredge channel for ships to use at San Carlos Water and Ajax Bay within the Falkland Islands, and reworked multiple locations with an increase in performance pass as well. Well, if you say more performance in the South Atlantic, count me in. I will try it myself, but I already heard reports that the performance is better, so sounds good. And speaking of performance, next up is the Syria map by Ugra Media. home of the HipGames Dynamic server. I am there almost every day, mostly practicing and getting kicked off by fellow members. Okay, but back to our subject. The developers provide some optimization of scenes and models. The numbers of bushes in scenes of airfields and forest area was reduced. Also the number of damage models and textures. The updated vector data rendering on ground textures and territories of southern Israel and Jordan have been worked out in more detail. They also added quite some new air bases. I will let you discover them on your own. And last but not the least, the Normandy 2.0 map by Ugra Media got improved scenes of airfields like Biggin Hill, Manston, and a few others, plus more additions and fixes. Everything listed in the changelog linked in the video description. So that was, in short, a first look at the newest update for DCS World. Thank you all for watching. Many thanks for our patrons for their continuous support. Remember to check our sponsors, VR Rock for your VR blue light protection and prescription lenses, Fox3 Managed Solutions for the best DCS servers out there, and PIMAX for the most quality VR headsets on the market. And subscribe to keep in touch with all the latest news on your favorite simulators and games. I am Andre Celesti, reminding you to fly safe, and I'll see you next time.